We've heard that Unified will be taking over West Valley Police. Is that true?
Nope, categorically not true right off the bat. I don't know where the conversation or that rumor might have come from, but I can say, and I do know, that we're always reevaluating our services, what we can do. That question has arisen before. We've actually had internal examinations of that question, and even had information secured from the Sheriff's Department in the past as to that question. And we did not move that way in the past, and we're not moving that way now. We actually have reconsidered that question here in the recent past, within, I would say, the last few weeks, and consulted with the council and the elected officials as well as the administration. And absolutely, the council is behind the concept that we need our own police department. We have our own services that are unique to West Valley City in our area. We're best suited to provide them.
So the topic has come up in like city meetings that you're talking about?
Oh, in a lot of different venues, yeah. In the most recent question here, yes, it actually has been discussed in a study session type of informal discussions where the council said, hey, do we want to go out and get information further? Do we want to have presentations? Do we want to even consider that? Frankly, didn't even get to that stage.
Why not?
Very simple, and I kind of alluded to a couple of the reasons. We're the second largest city in the state. We have a force right now of over 200, both sworn and civilian employees. We've got 130,000 people in population here. We've got a very unique set of service needs here with our city as far as our crime and police services question, and we want to direct that. We want to have control of that. We feel like this is the best way to do it. That's one of the reasons the city was incorporated in the first place as far back as 1980, so that the city could control its own destiny. Frankly, another reason that goes along with that is that West Valley is an entity that, as I mentioned, has specific and unique needs to itself, and we're aware of the fact that we are best positioned and we are the first and primary provider of those services, and we're only going to get those services in that way as we define them as we provide them.
How do you lose them by going to Unified?
Very simple. You simply lose, or you add another layer of administration. You lose overall decision-making authority that you clearly have at the local level. Better, and I'm not saying UPD doesn't provide good service. It does, and it suits the needs of jurisdictions that use it. But in our particular instance, we want and value having that control closer to us.
Now, to play devil's advocate here, with the issues you faced in the recent weeks and months, would going over to Unified be a smooth and easy way to say we've cleaned up the police department?
Right. Okay. Well, the first response I'd have to that is we're not looking for smooth and easy, and we never should be. We should be looking for what's the right thing to do in terms of the services to provide to the city and the citizens, and we need to do that in the frankly, in this case, the hard and the tough examination of how to provide those.
And obviously sticking with, I mean, some people might say sticking with what you've been doing so far hasn't gotten you to a good place.
Right, right.
So wouldn't that be something that might be an attractive option?
My response to that really would be, if you look at the overall picture from a historical standpoint, it has gotten us to a great place having our own department. We were able to provide all the specialty services at a unit level that we want to be the focus that I've talked about. Sure, we've got issues that we're going through right now, and it will take us some time to work through that. But my opinion there is you're not going to sacrifice the years of success and progress and expertise, professionalism, competence, leadership, all those things that advantage-wise we've gained over that time, and simply give that up because we've got a couple of problems that are going to take a few months or some time to fix.
What's one thing you say, if you can give me one example of one thing that makes West Valley unique that you say, okay, this is really something that we really need to do well and unique to our level that
Right.
we kind of do that other maybe cities don't, or that Unified wouldn't necessarily kind of have a whole idea?
Right. I'll give you three things that occur to me right off the top of my head. One is surely just the size. As I mentioned before, we're the second largest city. We've got 130,000 people plus, probably, and that's only about a third smaller size just from a population standpoint of Salt Lake City. Clearly, that's a big service need that you're probably not going to be able to address. I'm not saying it couldn't be done. I'm just saying it's not the best advantage to us from the UPD model, or frankly any takeover model that is out there. Second is the diversity of our city. We're a little bit unique in terms of our demographic makeup here in the city, and that's something that we look at, we value, and we need to address to our own concern. Third is the economic, demographic, and political demographic, frankly, out here in the city. Once again, this is a little bit different setup than most of Utah. Even within Salt Lake Valley, when you look at what people's incomes, jobs, career tracks are, political predilections in terms of how they vote, how they think, that sort of thing. Those are all unique characteristics of what makes up our community, and the police services that are provided to that community are hugely important to us from a focus control standpoint, as I mentioned.
So basically what you're saying is you know how to be able to handle those unique aspects of West Valley that you don't think would be too much of a learning curve for another department to come in and handle?
I'm not saying that no place else could handle it. What I am saying is we're better suited to handle it. We've got the experience, we know our community, we know our people, we know what the challenges are, and we're just plain best suited to do it.
So there have been any conversations with Unified about exploring this idea?
There have not been any formal conversations with Unified to explore going to them, and I know Sheriff Winder will support, and does support, whatever any individual agency's decision is, how they best are able to provide and need to provide their services. Having said that, I also don't exclude conversation, because of course we always do that with any other agency in terms of what are some things we might be able to do or might be advantageous to both parties in terms of providing service. And once again, that applies to everything. That applies to police, that applies to public works, that applies to everything down to sanitation, of which we contract out, frankly, as an example.
You said formal conversations. Have there been any informal conversations?
Yes, there have been informal contacts, conversations, and as I mentioned, those go on all the time. Those go back to before our current investigations and situation that we're dealing with right now. And I'm sure at some level will continue on into the future, as I said, as there are other opportunities or places where it makes sense to share services and cooperate with each other, we will do that. We always have to.
So, that being said, where are we at with the current situation you've got with the police department?
Okay, so there's so many that we're dealing with currently.
Let's talk about the PSRB for one.
PSRB, okay, great. So I think you remember we went through this situation where we just took the recommendations that we had formulated to the council. Council bought off and recommended that we follow all 7 of them, I think it was, with the exception of one, which was the term limit one. I have since that time met with the PSRB members themselves and talked to about how we're going to implement those steps. So that'll be happening over the next few weeks and months. I mean, they range all the way from making more statistics available to reporting on a quarterly sort of or annual sort of basis to allowing public comment in some sort of format. So it's going to take some time to do some of those things. We're working on that right now.
What about the special review panel?
The special review panel just got report back yesterday, or maybe it was a couple of days ago, from my legal department that they have the names in place. They just are getting their contracts together and actually getting them started. So I'm not at liberty to say who it is yet, but we're very close to getting that one too.
Would they be employees of the city?
No, they'll just be a contract sort of consulting basis. It'll be for a specific period of time.
Are they paid?
Yes, they will be paid.
Okay. So part-time city employees?
Yeah, basically how that'll be defined is, or not really employees. I mean, in the same way that if we hire somebody to bring in carpet and to install it, they're not an employee. They're
subcontract and freelance work.
Yeah, there you go. And the way we'll define that is we'll have them look at the cases that have been decided to have been dropped by the DA's office, and then once they have what the number of that is, and we're finished with that final patch, so to speak, whatever that number is, they'll have a specified period of time after that to be done, and that is at what point their contract will end.
Search for the police chief.
Search for the police chief. We're about a month into the advertising period, which will leave us about a month left, and then I would project about a month after that for the actual selection process. So we're talking sometime beginning of July, we should actually have the person that we want to at least extend the offer to, if they're not actually on board.
when would you say, so if you're going to extend the offer in July, when would you be ready to be able to say to anyone else, hey, we extended this offer? When do you start talking about it?
Yeah, as soon as it's accepted and you've got some kind of a commitment, basically.
So late summer, early fall, it sounds like.
It could even be as soon as early July if it's somebody who's available right there at that point. If it's somebody who needs 60 days to wrap up their old job or whatever, we probably could still announce them, but they just wouldn't be on board. Once again, just assuming that they accept and make commitment.
How many people are on that short list now?
We don't have the final first list, so I can't tell you how many people will be on the short list. But my plan at the end would be when we go through the process of winnowing through the resumes and qualifications and all that, we'll hold an assessment center in which anywhere from, I don't know, 4 to 10 people. I mean, that's kind of a short list then. And then after that, recommendation will come back from that to me, and I don't know, 2 or 3 or 4 final candidates, which then I'll go through an interview process with final decision.
Is there anything else that you guys can control on your end here from everything that's been going on?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I could go on all day about that. But we're looking at all processes, whether it's how fast is the adjudication of discipline work to other policy and procedure things that we need to put in place that clarify or ease that and we can make that transition and change. All the sorts of things. Well, and I think I might have mentioned to you this before, Brian. Even before the chief left, I was already working with him on a number of organizational improvements I wanted to see within the department. So we're working on those too.
Yeah. As all these other panels and other stuff are all coming out. So
yeah.